Alright, hey everybody, so today I have just a super quick little project, kind of trying out a new video format. So I'm going to be making a monitor that has several purposes really, out of this laptop screen that I got from an old laptop that I disassembled and took parts out of. So laptops are actually treasure troves of reusable electronics that you can use in any different kind of project. To make this screen work, you need a driver board. The way to find this driver board is go to eBay and find the model number on the back of your screen right here. And you're going to type that into eBay with the addition of driver board or LCD driver board or LCD board. Some combination of those words will bring up an entire list of circuit boards that will fit that specific screen. So in this case, this board, it has an HDMI input, it has a headphone output. So if there's audio coming through HDMI, you can listen through headphones, which is very useful for this camera here because this camera does not have its own audio output. So if I wanted to monitor audio, I could do that with this headphone on this monitor. And then it has a 12 volt DC input. It also has this pin out right here, which also comes with the board, and that's going to be a little remote controller. And it just attaches through this ribbon cable here. And this allows you to obviously power on and off the board. It looks like we can adjust the screen settings through this board. To give this thing power, I'm going to use just a small power bank. This is a new favorite thing of mine. It is a 10,000 milliamp hour power bank, but the special thing about it is that it has power delivery, or PD, specification through USB-C. And what that basically means is you can get a small USB-C board like this. You can take the 5 volts coming out of this power bank and negotiate a 12 volt or 9 volt, or I think up to 20 volt output through this board. And that is possible because this power bank supports that USB-C power delivery protocol. So I've also designed and printed some cases for the battery and for the driver board. Those are just going to mount onto a little wood board I've cut out and pre-drilled some holes onto. Just something to give the screen some rigidity and protection. The reason I'm doing this, and I've actually made a LCD monitor before for a small, actually it's right here. I made this before. This is a, I think, 8-inch monitor that works very well, has several different input types here as well. But it's very low resolution and not a format that is useful for my camera or most functions. When I pulled this screen out of that old laptop, I was excited because it had a large format. It was HD, it had a nice matte screen, it had a good aspect ratio for monitoring this camera specifically. So you can also monitor microcontrollers off of this thing. If you want to hook up peripherals to like a Raspberry Pi like this, you can also hook up an endoscope to it and look under your car into small places. You could even just hook it up to your laptop and have a second screen there. The possibilities are kind of endless for an external monitor. Anyways, I'm going to build this thing real quick and I'll show you how it works. It's going to be fun. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just get the screen attached onto the board. We want to be sure that we can still access the little ribbon connector right here. You need to make sure that the ribbon goes in the correct way. Just get this board oriented in the way that you want it. You'll have to sort of organize the ribbon around it since there is some extra. Then I'll take my cover. Yeah. Next, I just want to screw in my battery holder. So the battery can just sit inside like that. The way this part's going to work, but I'm going to have it sitting right there. We'll connect USB-C to the board. So this pigtail cable right here, this is going to plug into the DC port of the board. I'm just going to solder the leads of this pigtail onto the positive and negative of this board here. So the way this power delivery thing works is we're going to plug in our USB-C. To program this board, you're going to hold that button down, plug in the power, and you're going to see this LED kind of do a rainbow thing. And then you can push that button to select different colors. The different colors correspond to different voltage negotiations. So in my case, I know that green is going to be 12 volts. And then when I hold green down, the light goes out. And then I know that it's programmed to put out 12 volts. So every time I plug this in, there will be 12 volts coming out of this connector here, which is a really great technology, right? Because 5 volts usually comes out of these power banks and only 5 volts. So to be able to step that up to something more useful like 12 volts or even 9 volts, you can power a whole lot of things with just this combination of electronics. I'm going to stick this board right about here, and then this can go ahead and plug into the DC port of the board. For the control board then, we're going to start by just plugging it right in, and now we've got to position it sort of out of the way of anything else. Okay, so I have this metal bracket. I tapped the center hole to 1/4-20. That means that it's threaded to the same compatibility as most camera equipment. In this case, we have a little ball head, so we can just screw it right in here. I have a spot on the bottom here, if you can see this hole, so I can screw in this bracket, and then we can have a nice little ball head mounting point there. And that'll make it really useful to mount onto any sort of tripod for monitoring. I'm just gonna take some black masking tape and make a nice border around the edge. Just something to clean it up, make it look a little nicer. Okay, I've got the monitor on a little bendy leg tripod now. Okay, we've got our battery. Type C. Green light comes on here. The red light's on there. So we have no signal, but the screen does work. I'm gonna plug in an HDMI cable here. And then just for testing sake, I have this little Raspberry Pi. I have the mini HDMI adapter, so plug that in here, and then I will power up the Pi. There we go. Nice, good sized screen. Looks okay. There's something weird going on with the left and right panel here, but I can figure that out later. Here is the finished monitor, and there's the back of it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It's gonna be really handy for working with this camera, being framing, kind of pull and focus, things like that. I can also use it for work on small computer boards. I can extend my laptop monitor when I'm working on that. So yeah, very useful project, especially if you're just gonna be recycling or throwing away an old laptop. Pull the screen out, pull the parts out, make something cool out of them. And also let me know what you thought of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and